Hello and welcome to Angel Cake Entertainment's live season review for The Challenge All-Stars 2, second All-Star season. It was so nice. They did it twice. And here we are to talk about it. I have with me my two friends and co-hosts for the evening. Got Charles Warren from charleswarrenpresents.com and also Kiss My Cheeks TV's Angie. Thank you both for joining me. How are you guys doing?
Thank you for having us. I'm good. We're having a great time over here. Hoping for some snow or some ice. They're supposed to get some ice here in North Carolina tomorrow. I would rather have snow, but we're chilling for the weekend. Just having a great time. Ready to talk about this season because I loved it.
All right. I mean, we're getting right into it. Angie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. You see, I have my Stella Rose. I had a bit of a technical issue. That's why we were a little bit late. So I'm just ready to get into All Stars too because it was such a great season. I know we're about to have a good time, so I'm putting all that technical stuff behind me and I'm ready to have a good time.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that we haven't talked at all about this season together, whether during the season or outside of doing lives and stuff. I mean, we talked so much about the Challenge 37 and that was bad. So it's nice to actually get to talk to y'all about a really good season.
Right.
Let's get into it. So Charles, you said you liked it. Let's talk about the cast first. What did you like about the cast? Did you think this was an A-list cast? And do you think it was better than the first season's cast?
I thought it was a strong cast coming in. Now, they always give us some women layups. They love to give us some of those. They throw the Jasmines and those in there. But I was excited to see Tyler. I was excited to see Kahutta back. I love Derek. Of course, Durell. So a lot of the guys I was excited to see. The women, a lot of them we haven't seen in such a long time. So, it was optimistic. So, yeah, that's how I felt.
Okay. What about you, Angie? What did you think about this cast?
I love the cast. A lot of people reintroduced themselves to me, and I fell in love with them all over again, like the Idonas of the world. She just has a natural reality TV personality. Melinda, I was happy to see Melinda come back and perform so well. Like at the beginning of the season, I was on the fence with the cast, but as it played out, like they gave me old school challenge that I've been craving for so long. They understood
I
how to
agree.
play the game. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. I was about to bring up that last season, season 1 was more of like a family reunion, like, oh, we're back on the challenge. We haven't been here in forever. And then this season, it just seemed like everybody who was on the first season and even who wasn't on the first season was came in to play and to win. And I really loved it. I mean, you had Jody, who was absolutely demolishing a lot of these daily challenges. You had Ayana for the entertainment value and eating Greek salads and being very descriptive on how she ate them. You got Tech, yes. Brad. I mean, Nehemiah and Save the Palace. I mean, this was everybody was bringing it this season, I thought. And yeah, that season, that song is incredible.
Yeah, we got a theme song out of it. And finally, some rivalry. That's what makes these shows good. When we have two combating sides, like a clear line, and it eventually got down to a 6 versus 6. Love it. That is what we want. We don't want people kissing the back ends of the bananas and the CTs.
Kissing the ring.
Yes. Yeah, I want the girls to fight. I want the girls to battle. That's what we want.
I agree.
I don't think we got a strong rivalry or alliance battle in a long time. I'm doing a series rewatch, and I was watching Fresh Meat 2, and just having the house divided and having clear lines was amazing to watch. I was like, man, comparing this to season 37 and season 36 and the recent seasons, I was like, we haven't gotten this in a long time, I feel. I mean, this was incredible to have the house split down the middle. You have the one alliance with all the power people, and then you have all the alliance with everybody else who's like, we should make an alliance to just stay alive to get through this together. And I don't know, it was magical. For me, it was magical to see some of this gameplay. And what do you think about, I'll phrase it this way. Do you think that some of the challengers changed their challenge history or changed what we kind of like had perspective on them from their past?
Oh,
like, what do you think about
lately?
Yeah, who sticks out to you guys as somebody who changed or had redemption from their past challenge history?
Ayana became a superstar. Like, Ayana before this season, who was she? I did not remember her before this season, but after, like, going forward, she is a franchise personality. If they don't bring her back 20 more times, they are losing out on money, because she is gold. Ayana from the gate. I can't believe we haven't seen her in so long.
She's a natural at it. Like, she wasn't even playing a character. She's natural at just being reality gold. I thought the winner, Johnny, had a great redemption story, because I just remember, and I'm not going to give Johnny too much. We'll get into that when we get into the final. But she did get a redemption from, because I remember all the times, like when she was dating Zach, and he like dissed her and told her she wasn't nothing. She's an awful partner. She's not a good player. And it's kind of like, and I'm sure they're not thinking about each other, but just for the history of it all, it's like, well, I'm a champ too. And what is your girl?
Oh.
Like that.
I have to agree with a lot of the commenters out here that Melinda had a huge arc and huge redemption. I mean, she didn't just win one elimination, she won two after starting out her challenge career not winning any. So to me, I thought she did a great job, especially with her story arc as well, with her losing her baby before the pregnancy and stuff. So I mean, yeah, I mean, she came in and absolutely destroyed this season. I mean, I think it really helped having somebody in her corner with Nehemiah being there and being a true friend, and then them being able to partner up with each other. I think to have that partnership and that help and that bond there for her, I think it helped both of them out and get very, very far. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of rooting for them to win. I was like really kind of thinking that they could pull it out, but I thought that would have been a great story arc.
They could have.
Love Johnny. Love Johnny.
We'll get there.
Now, what do you think on the other end too? Because I also believe when we see people rise as underdogs, certain icons and legends become villain almost. Because it seems like with the Nehemiah arc, Derek, who was like a golden child of the challenge, all of a sudden is kind of seen as the opposition to the person we're rooting for, you know? And I've never thought of Derek as a possible villain or whatever, antagonist, but this season was it was giving that energy for me.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
You were rooting for the underdog.
Yeah.
You were rooting for Nehemiah, so Derek became the villain. But I don't think he was a villain. And I actually like seeing this side of Derek. Like, because Derek in the past was a follower. Like, he was always in the majority alliance. And as long as he didn't ruffle any feathers, they kind of protected him. So I kind of like seeing Derek get more into the game. And I'm not that I'm happy he went home early, but I really just can't wait to see if they're bringing the beef over into season 3 as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like Nehemiah was trying to get to him that Derek, you're not in, like, people don't love you because you're like this big mastermind strategic gameplay trying to cut people out and try to like throw them under the bus or anything like that. Like, we love you because of your fight and the way you played in your past seasons. And it was it was interesting because Nehemiah was saying that to Derek, who they didn't see eye to eye in the first season. But I felt like Nehemiah came in playing almost the exact same way, because Nehemiah has always played the let your performance talk instead of you trying to backstab or try to like take hold of the situation or be too strategic. So it was interesting to see him kind of like come out here to be the strategic guy and to make moves. And I don't know. To me, it was nice to see somebody else get the limelight, because we see Derek so much of the time get so far. I think if he would have stayed longer, we wouldn't have got more Brad. Brad probably would have been one of the guys cut instead of being tied up with Jody and Durell or being so close to him. So I think it was nice to see some of the other people that used to like be on the challenge for a long time leave, and then let some of the other players that don't normally get screen time
players play.
Get a lot more.
I agree.
Get a lot more screen time. So
and you would have never even got the Brad and Jody partnership, because Jody would have stuck with Derek if Derek was still there. Brad would have been stuck with who knows. And I want to shout out Tech. Tech was always, to me, kind of like there for entertainment value only, because he's good with the one-liners and he's funny. But he really proved himself to me this season, especially in that final. Like, I know he could have kept going, and I'll save my comments for the final later. But he really proved himself to me this season of being a really good competitor as well. So I think if Tech ever comes back, he'll do really good in this game.
Yeah, Tech, I've never even cared for Tech, but the guy in that trio that I like the most is Laterian. Laterian is the one out of those three kings that I root for the most, even more than Nehemiah. Laterian is the one that I'm glad they brought him back, and I hope they keep bringing him back, because he doesn't just fight hard. He has his heart in the game too. His emotions are attached. So, and even with a bad partner, he just keeps getting the curse of having a bad partner. He was still encouraging Jasmine and trying to get her to fight, keep going, even when she seemed clocked out. So Laterian is definitely, him and Ayanna, for me, were like the biggest come-ups in the franchise, really.
Okay. I mean, we got some differing opinions over here. We got LT Corny, and then we got some that are saying that LT Laterian is Boo from way back. So I mean, we're getting some back and forth here with some of the players and what everybody thinks of everybody. So I want to ask, because it's been asked in the chat. Here we have, it says, I'm a huge fan of Durell, but is his status as a top competitor starting to fade? I mean, he got to 2 back-to-back finals appearances in All-Stars. 2 back-to-back. Well, I mean, he didn't get second place officially, but I mean, you could have said he got second place here. I mean, second place is losing. So do we think that Durell is fading into the background, especially when they're bringing in, say, more, I don't know, more legends, more mainstream, younger players onto doing All-Stars, especially in season 3, if anybody has seen the rumors? What do you guys think about Durell?
I agree with that statement. I think Darrell is always going to be a legend, but he hasn't won since his OG time. He needed a win somewhere along the regular challenge run. He definitely needed one of these 2 All-Star wins. To me, Darrell is not the big scary guy who's won 4 championships. He's just Darrell. We could beat him. Like, to me, he's not even someone I'd be scared to put into elimination, because we've seen Corey beat him in elimination. So he has the history of I'm Durell, but I feel like currently he's not as scary as people put him on that pedestal to be.
What do you think, Drew?
I think the thing I worry about Durell, especially when it comes to like All-Stars 3 and possibly seeing like Wes, who has a history with Durell and wanting to get him out, and then you also have what could be Jordan, I mean, those are players that, yes, they are also champions, but whenever you have a player like Durell without any players like CT or Bananas, he is always going to stick out because he has the most challenge wins. So even if everybody is a threat, everybody is a champion, everybody's looking at Durell because he has the most wins out of everybody. So, and if you have players like Wes and Jordan who will want to come at him, he's going to have to go into eliminations and he's going to have to fight his butt off or win to get some other people thrown in. So that's my worry about him. But I always think he's a top competitor. I mean, getting to 2 finals back to back is no like easy task.
You were about to say something, Angie?
I was just going to ask you, Drew, but don't you think those are like, I don't want to say asterisk, but those are old. Most of those are old school championships where a lot of them were teams and partners. It wasn't as hard where like Wes and Jordan have won in the new school game, which I think some finals are a lot harder than the old school finals. I just don't think like I give him his props. He's a legend. But I just don't think he's that scary anymore. Like I wouldn't be scared to go up against Darrell in elimination because he's proven to be beatable.
I could see where you're coming from, but I also think that Durell is in like even better shape than he was. So having those wins on top of him being in the great shape that he's in is what's always going to make everybody worry. Like, and then going to 2 finals and then getting like second place or being right there so close to winning. I think that's always going to be in everybody's minds. But we also have to think that if Wes is on the season, Wes was back in the day with Darrell. So he knows full well what Darrell is capable of from back in the day. And then looking at him now, it's like, okay, well, he could still destroy us if he really wanted to. I want to take him out before the finals.
Yeah, I don't even know why that's a question. I think for somebody like Durell, who has, if you've been to 6 finals, you won 4 of them and basically came in second the other 2. Like, how is that a bad batting average? When there are been other people that have been to far more and just didn't win. Now, with Durell, I feel like even the West comparison, I think he's much better than West. Like, I think he is leagues better than West. I don't think West can beat him at a puzzle. I don't think West can beat him running. I don't think West can beat him at a pole wrestle. So I think that's disrespectful to even compare him to like a West. I think, not gonna say West gets too much credit, but he does. But yeah, I think Durell is always gonna be top tier. If I had to make my list of like the best challenge players of all time with the men, he would be in my top 5 for sure.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't sleep on Darrell. And the Corey, he lost to Corey just in a foot race. Corey would have beat anybody in that foot race. I don't even take that as like a notch on Darrell's belt because he would have beat CT in a foot race. He would have probably beat Bananas in a foot race. So
oh heck yeah.
Okay.
I definitely agree with everything you have said. All right. Now I want to ask, out of everybody who was the first timers on All Stars 2, who would you like to see back, and who is somebody that you would definitely not want to see back on the challenge again? Like, we can just walk away here. I think we've already said Ayana, so you could pick somebody else if you want to pick somebody else.
Oh, somebody else. Okay.
So if you want to pick somebody else that was first timers on, then yeah, I mean, whoever's ready, we can go. I mean, I could start off. I'm not a huge fan of Janelle. I thought she did fantastic this season, but to me, she didn't add a whole lot. I mean, she didn't even get a confessional from episodes 2 through 5. Like, she didn't get any confessionals, and then she started picking it up, but that was when like her back was hurting her, and that was like her whole storyline was telling Melinda, "You guys are partying too hard. No, thank you. Also, my back is hurting me and I might have to leave and take Durell with me. And it was like, no, don't do this. Just power through it. But I think we won't have to see her. Like, I don't think that's going to be a problem because I don't think she would come back to like because of her back injury. Like, I think she would be like, no, let's not do that. So that's somebody that I could be fine. Like, I'm glad she came on to do it at least once, but I'm cool with her not coming back.
For me, I want to see Katie not come back because all Katie does is quit, complain, cry, not participate. Katie was good to bring the nostalgia back to the show, like season 1, even I guess season 2. But like, Katie, girl, you can stay at home. I want people who quit not to come back. It's only 2 weeks. And then for me, who I would love to see come back, since we can't say Ayanna, I would like to see. Well, I guess that's kind of cheating because I already know Melinda will be back, but I can't wait to see what Melinda does on season 3 because I thought she did a great comeback season. I want to see her win one.
I completely agree. Melinda was going to be my answer. If I had to pick one all-star first appearance, would be Melinda. I feel like she has set herself up as well to continue on. Who do I not want to see back? Ooh, where do we begin? I would agree. I don't want to see Katie back, even though this was her second time here. I also
it was her second.
Yeah, but like
I totally forgot about that.
People like
I'll allow it. I totally forgot too.
Tina shouldn't be allowed to come back.
No.
Tina quitting, just standing there. That was trash. I would like to see Jody back as well. Jody for sure. Jody, Melinda, yes. Come back. Katie and Tina, y'all can stay at the crib.
I agree with Jody as well.
I will say that when I was doing the cast, when it was like just like rumored and everything and going over the cast, I was like, oh, Tina's coming back. She must do a good job on the first season that she's on, which was All Stars 2 before it even came out. I was like, I'll just do a video. And then seeing her go out the way she did and know she gets a callback on All Stars 3, I was like, this is going to be interesting. Because it was like, I don't know. I felt like, I think she's very entertaining. But when she doesn't want to do something, she doesn't want to do it. So I was pretty shocked to see her on the cast list for All Stars 3, going back when watching this season, going like, okay, sure. Like, all right, well, let's do this. But I think it's because of Veronica. And then I think that they were thinking that Beth was going to be on the season as well. So they wanted to have that dynamic of Beth, Tina, and Veronica back on the challenge. But Beth went to doing alternate, and I think she went to do the real world season. So if they were shooting it at the same time, then that's what's going on. But yeah. Is Casey the new Jody, Charles?
I don't see the comparison. No, Jody's not as good as Casey. So let's not sleep on Casey. Casey.
What about
Jody's
Laurel?
Great.
Is
Jody
she the new
great.
Laurel?
But Casey, when we talk about Don Divas, Casey is up there. Jody gonna have to win another one before she can even compete with a new school girl.
Yeah, she can't compete with the new school Casey.
Mm-mm.
I don't know who they're gonna have to get to stop Casey in the future. I keep saying Jenny, but if they don't have someone at that equal level, Jenny, the girl from Europe.
Jenny, I would say Jeannie Mai from The Real.
No, sorry. But Casey to me is unstoppable until they get someone at her level to challenge her.
Yeah,
they need another football player.
I will say that
Logo Jones need to come back.
Oh no, don't no. This is getting off the rails. I'm gonna have to stop this before it gets too much into that. But I thought Jody did better in the confessionals. I think they gave her more to work with in the confessionals, where Casey's more of a narrator. They're just like, hey, can you explain what this elimination is? And then she just explains it in the most basic way, and then they cut it. They're like, there's Casey's confessionals for the rest of the episode. Kind of thing.
She's not entertaining. She's just there to win. And that's it.
Yeah, basically.
She has like an athlete's personality. If you are really around a lot of athletes, a lot of them aren't like the most charismatic personalities. Some of them are just used to going to practice and going to games and going to study hall. If you're a collegiate athlete, not all of them are like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs like a Lolo Jones.
Very true.
All right. I think we talked a good portion about the cast. So normally we rate the cast or the points on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being not great. Try again. Thank you. Next. So out of 1 through 5, what would you rate the cast? And everybody in the chat, you can do this as well. I'll be putting up scores as we're talking about this. I think this was a really good cast. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was like a step up from last season. I think some of the cast members coming back from season 1 and the ones coming back from season 2, mixed with all the people that are coming into season 3, I think that season is gonna be stellar competition wise. So I can't give this a solid 5 because I know that they even went up more. So I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5. Room for improvement, still better than average, but I think there is definitely some room to improve, and they've definitely improved on it. But what do you guys think? Angie, would you like to go first?
I was going to give it a 4.2 because I was highly entertained. I agree. Just because I know what's coming in season 3, I said, okay, I know that's going to be a better cast. I'm really excited for that cast, but I was highly entertained this season by this cast. So they get a 4.2, which is like an A minus, not a perfect A.
Okay, that's pretty solid. What about you, Charles?
Yeah,
don't be swayed by everything that's going on the screen.
Mine's a solid 4.0. I was going to go 3.75, but we need to give a signing bonus to whoever dug up Ayana, Melinda, whoever picked the correct number of people so we could have opposition in the game. That's kind of what I'm scared for on season 3, to be honest, because I don't think the Palace has the numbers in season 3, but we're not going to talk about that. I would give it a solid 4. I think it could be better for sure, but I thought it was absolutely phenomenal for finding these people that were just forgotten about and they just shined on screen.
Yeah, I think a lot of everybody is saying 4. I mean, Michelle is saying 4 out of 4, so that's a 100% right there.
Perfect.
But I think 4 is what the consensus is, and I have to agree. I mean, we got a solid 3 here from Jay, but 4 out of 5, but nothing really low. I mean, except Prime TY here saying 2.5, not competitive enough, but I mean, some people want some more competition, and I think we are going to get a huge amount of competition come next season. I mean, look, can we just talk about real quick? What do you guys think about the house at the end of that season preview or the little sneak peek? That house looks stellar. It looks like a normal challenge season house, not like this little cabana house mansion that they had with like 4 beds to a room. This house looks incredible. My gosh, it's going to be off the hook. What do you guys think about this house? I want to get in that
pool. That pool is resort style pool. I want to get in it. I want to jump in it. The house looks amazing. It looks like a season 38 house, but they said, y'all not doing nothing over there. We're going to give this to All Stars. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I like the house, but I don't want them to resort to more lounging around house conversation shots. Just because you got the pretty house, I don't want you to now want to show it off on the screen more and more. I really don't care where they live. I just want the competitions to be great and for them to compete well. That's more so what I'm focused on.
Okay. I can see that. All right.
Well, at least
Let's
this
go
house will be
into
big enough for when they start singing "Save the Palace," other people
Can't
won't hate
hear
because
it.
maybe they can hear.
Yeah, what was that? What was with that? I mean, you got a big old house, yet we can hear through vents and through the walls. Like, what are these, paper thin? Like, I know they ain't singing that loud, but I mean, come on now. But at least it was a catchy tune. It wasn't like some random
I would
tune that they were
download it
doing
if I
too.
could find it. If I could
Right at
find
the
it, I
end
would
of
download it.
It's
the
on
end of
iTunes.
episode 7, they had a beat to it and
It's on
everything. It was like an
iTunes.
official song.
I'm
It
gonna
is.
download it. I love that song.
It's on Spotify right now if anybody wants to go check it out. And yeah, there's a behind the scenes that Tech put up on his own YouTube channel where he had LT himself, Melinda, and Nehemiah all singing parts and everything. Like it's full. I have it on my like playlists. I have been having it on loop. It's great. I love it.
Make money.
Tech money. All right. Let's talk about the format. If I had one thing to critique about this season was the format, and that's only because I think production did more this season where I kind of scratched my head going like, what was this now? Like, why did we do this? I think I really would have liked this season if it would have stayed single, like individual players, and we would have just had a full free agent season throughout. I think if we would have had that, I think it would have been a lot more interesting. It was, to me, it kind of went a little wonky when it went to pairs, because right when it went to pairs and everybody was tied to somebody else, that's when Kendall had to leave. They had to swap up the eliminations to where then LT had to go up against Tyler by himself. Jasmine was saved. And then right after that, Casey found out she was pregnant, and then Kahutta had to get hit in the road with her. And so then that was like, why did Kahutta have to leave? Why couldn't they just do a full-on men's elimination again? He got to swap up partners. Like, what's going on here? So to me, there was some wonky stuff that happened once we went to pairs, but I still enjoyed the season. I still enjoyed the pairs portions as we were heading into the finals. Maybe it would have been different, or I would have felt different if we would have stayed singles and more of a free agent style than swap it halfway through. I don't think a swap in format ever was like me going, yeah, that was great. That was a great option to swap it up in the middle of the season. But what do y'all think about the format for this season? Did you like it? Did you not like it? When they swapped up the pairs, what do you guys think? Who wants to? Charles, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. So when that challenge happened, when they were jumping in the water, we had teams that came out, did the puzzle. I literally text Angie. I was like, Angie, these teams are surprisingly balanced. I was like, these teams were almost perfectly balanced, other than like a Tyler and Jasmine. But whoever got Jasmine was going to be the weaker team regardless. But literally, if you look down the line, I think production, this is what I told Angie, I think production looked down the line and saw these pairs and said, okay, if we want competitive challenges going forward, we need to keep these balanced pairs. If we keep these balanced duos, every competition will be a close time. It'll be a nail biter, whatever you would like to say. It won't be such a blowout. That's how I felt. I felt the teams were great. I loved it. I loved the pairs, other than Tyler and Jasmine again. But I don't know. They didn't know Casey was pregnant. They didn't know other things was gonna happen. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I thought they were perfectly balanced. I thought those teams were great. Any team could beat another team.
Okay. What about you,
I
Angie? What do you think
agree
about it?
with that. The teams were balanced, but I didn't like how I thought we were going to get a more free agent season, and when they was like, nope, y'all stuck. Even though it was balanced, I didn't like that. Even if they would have made, okay, this is your partner, but the eliminations were still guy versus guy, girl versus girl, and it swaps and mixes up a little bit, fine. That would have been more exciting. But the one thing I want to say about production, and hopefully they might see this little clip one day, when you on All Stars and you got people in their 40s, some of them is 50, they don't need to be jumping off a 30-foot cliff. You know, our bones are a little bit more fragile. It takes us a little bit longer to heal. We don't have time to be breaking ribs, all of that. Can you not give us the 20-year-old challenges? They clearly could have jumped off a 15-foot cliff and it would have been equally as exciting. So just that little tidbit to production, like they don't, so many people get hurt every season from these huge jumps that are equally as exciting from 10 feet. But
Yeah.
I did see production's hands in All Stars to a little bit too much. But like I said, I was still highly entertained. So I wasn't too mad with the format.
Yeah,
When
I
you
agree.
compare it to the other show,
Oh,
it's
heck
10
yeah.
times better. So
100%. I mean,
I agree with that comment too. This comment right here, without
I can't
those
see.
duos, without a Nehemiah, Melinda, and those balanced teams, I don't think those underdogs would have been so strong.
yeah. No, I definitely
Yeah.
agree. I mean, that's the one thing I do agree with the swapping up everybody with the keeping of the partners and everything, that they were balanced, and I'm glad they were balanced and that we could have everybody in the different alliances. Like the way it came out was perfectly, like I don't think they could have scripted it better. Like they couldn't thought of it like playing out any better than it did. I think when it comes down to the unforeseeable and the whole thing with Casey finding out that she's pregnant, I mean, that's difficult. I mean, once you're in those partnerships and you're like, we got to keep them, it's kind of difficult to be like, once you find something out like that, you can't really swap it up. Like you can't, there's not much room to be flexible and shift. So when you do have somebody that does that, then it's like, well, that sucks. Like, but that's another thing is like, this is the fourth or fifth woman to find out they're pregnant, or the fourth or fifth season in a row. I mean, you had 34, 35, 36, and 37. And now this All Stars 2. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think like one or two, like maybe like, whoa, somebody was pregnant. That's crazy.
Whoa,
But
she was getting it on.
whoa, but it's like when you have that many coming in on the recent seasons, and then you're endangering not only their well-being but also the child's well-being. With like Melissa went the whole season not knowing, and then she almost had to face off against Casey in a physical elimination on top of a mountain. I mean, luckily she was like, she listened to her body and said, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want to do this. But
so do they not give them physicals? I know Big Brother, they give them a physical to make sure they're not going in the house. But does the challenge, do they not do pregnancy tests and blood work?
I think they're too early because it seems like they get it in right before they fly out. And so they might only be a day or two pregnant, and then they do 2 weeks of quarantine. So now you're only 2 weeks pregnant, and you might not know, at 2 weeks. So Casey had to wait till she was around 4 or 5 weeks and say, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of the comments that came onto my review and recap on that episode, was saying that it might be too early, but I mean, I have no idea. I don't know really how that all works out or what they can do to prevent it. It just seems super negligent on their part if it's not just one or two happening in the last like 10 seasons. It was like happening every single season that it's at that point going like, are you guys doing anything on your end? Like, I would like to know at least something is going on that you're not just endangering these people's lives and well-beings and their babies' lives and well-beings if for not doing anything and just going like, all right, go out there, jump off this trampoline into a 40-foot drop into the water, and hopefully you don't get a concussion and really have some serious injury. That's just my piece on it. But all right. Does anybody else have anything to say about the format? I feel like the format was pretty easy. I mean,
I don't know if this counts as format, but baby, when I tell you the soundtrack for All Stars 2, those songs that
they picked
for transitions, that we need that on Apple Music, on Tidal, on Spotify. There needs to be a soundtrack for the challenge.
And
All-Stars
they played
2.
the 90s, like the 90s, 2000s. Like they played throwback songs. I was like, oh.
They were playing all the hip hop R&B hits for the transitions, and I was getting my life. Like, it felt like a movie. Like we were watching a movie. It felt great.
There was so many times where I started just like bouncing in my chair. Like the one that really hit me during the finals was Tech and Ayana doing the puzzle, grabbing all the puzzle pieces, and they had Lupe Fiasco doing the kick, push. I was like, oh man, I haven't heard this song in forever. I was like, yo, this is great.
Yeah, if anybody does a rewatch, listen to the music. They are playing hits all season long. Yeah, I love that part.
Well, and that's the thing is like, well, first of all, I'm doing a whole rewatch of all the seasons and stuff, and they played way too much of like A Day to Remember and like hardcore like during the eliminations, where I was like, all right, you're just patting their bank accounts. But I mean, they were MTV music television. I mean, they have those songs. Like they should be able to use those songs and use their music in their MTV to make it a better season overall. And they just haven't been doing it. I don't know if it's like I'm just not feeling the songs in the newer season or they're just not picking right, but pick some of these old school songs. Like they're way better. They fit way better.
Yep.
I can't even remember a song that I remember from the main season. Like I can't even remember a song that I was like, and they pop up on the screen. Like the name pops up on the screen whenever they play something. I still can't remember anything that they played. And I was like, oh yeah, totally. I don't remember that. Oh yeah, Black Eyed Peas. That was a good one too. When TJ blew the horn and they started running through the forest, that was good too. So, not counting the soundtrack because I'm not counting that as the format. 1 through 5, 1 being format sucked, 5 being the format was great. What would you rate the format of this season? Because of what Angie said, and I could feel the production's fingertips more on this season than last season. I'm gonna give it a solid 3. I think the players themselves made the season no matter what format it was. But to me, just looking at the format, I don't like format shifts. You tell me it's free agents on episode 1. Let it be free agents the whole episode. So I'm gonna give it a 3. What's going on, Angie?
I just remembered another thing I didn't like. I didn't like by episode 2 having the life shield was womp womp. Pretty much, if you win elimination, you don't have to go in again next week. The power of the life shield, they found what do we say in the accounting world? The loophole. They found the loophole to the life shield, which made having the life shield not as exciting as what production thought it would be. It should have been, if you win the life shield, you automatically not going into elimination next week, but you still have the power to save 2 people if you want to. And seeing how the loophole was found out, it was pretty much like, I don't even care about the life shields because they just gonna put you in, you gonna save yourself, and that's it. But I just wanted to say that I'm still gonna give my grade, even after saying all of that. I'm still giving it a solid 3. Um, the format was good. I agree with you, Drew. The cast is what made it entertaining, and I think they're going to, if they can keep it free agents all the way through, they might get a 4 next season.
The only so for the Life Shield thing, I think the main purpose for the Life Shield was for the same people not to be thrown over and over and over again. The problem I had was once you threw somebody in and they used it, whether it was to save themselves or somebody else, you lost your vote. So it actually did hinder them and could change the game. So even if they were like Brad and Jody or Jody and Darrell, when they were like, oh, we'll just throw up the 2 people and then they'll have to use their life shields. I mean, that's helping their side gain even more control because maybe they can't send in those 2 people, but now you take them off the block from being able to even vote to save their friends. So I think you either have the life shield or you let them vote and have the life shield. Like, I feel like that was just way too much power to be like, oh, you can use it, but everybody was going to throw you up because then it takes away a vote. Charles, sorry, I just had to say that. What do you think about the format?
I give format, not thinking about music because that would give it a whole nother point. But 3.25 would be my number. I feel like without those teams, I don't think the Palace versus like the popular kids would have been as balanced. It wouldn't have given the Palace numbers because it forced basically a 6 because each king had another person attached to them automatically from being a pair. So it gave them more numbers. All the teams for me were balanced, so I didn't mind it. Obviously, like I said, I felt like production saw it as an opportunity, yes, but I felt like it made it for a better show in the end.
All right, and real quick, let's help somebody decide food. Chick-fil-A or Chipotle? What would you guys say?
Chick-fil-A.
We don't eat I don't eat Chick-fil-A in this house. We support the LGBT community, so eat some Chipotle if you would like.
I don't like Mexican food, so that's why I said no Chipotle. But
I gotta go with Chipotle. I don't know. I have to give it to Chipotle. I'm always a sucker for burritos or a burrito bowl. So that's just me. Also, if you have vegan options, go to Chipotle.
But I also don't eat Chipotle because they had that E. coli breakout. So it'll be neither for me. So
okay. So what do you want? You want E. coli or? All right. Let's go into the daily challenges. So the daily challenges were actually pretty fun. I'm gonna go run down some of these daily challenges.
I love the challenges.
I don't know if these are right. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it is. So you had boarding party, which was the 2 boats. You had to move a skull in between 2 boats and then dunk it, which was pretty interesting. Around the block was the 2 teams having to grab giant puzzle pieces and put 2 puzzles together. Bright Skies was something. What was Bright Skies? Does anybody remember Bright Skies?
I don't know the names of these challenges. I don't know the names of these competitions. I know what it'll come back. Like.
I know Casey and Steve.
I make up my own names. Was that trivia?
Bright Skies. Yeah. That was trivia. Bright Skies. That was trivia.
The best trivia format, though. I love the trivia format.
I love this trivia format. Yes.
Yeah.
That was category good. And girls got to keep going. So I love format for that. Yep.
Side note, that's the format for trivia on game night. Just a side note. Ooh. I was still in that because I love that format of trivia.
I'm so down. Then we got Bounce Back, which was the trampoline stairs, knocking off the blocks and then doing the puzzles. Deep Dive, which was Deep Dive.
They had to dive for those puzzle pieces.
Oh yeah. Jumping off the 30-foot cliff, of course. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why this. I watched all these episodes like 3 or 4 times. I don't know.
That's when the teams were formed.
Yeah, Kendall got hurt that episode. Apparently, Janelle got hurt as well. So that's what was going on. So that's where deep dive was. Steer clear. Brad and Jody also won that one. Dive and conquer. We got another diving one. They loved. Can I just say they loved saying, or at least TJ loved saying the cenote. They rented that cenote for like 2 months, and they were like, we got to use the crap out of this. And then you have make the connection and the final challenge. Dive and conquer was the big old bull puzzle with all the different. You had to dive into the cenote, all the bull puzzles, and then Nehemiah and Melinda won make the connection. Which daily challenges did you guys like the most, or did you like all of them? To me, I'll have to say it right now. Trivia was like one of my favorites. We didn't get a trivia challenge in season 37. So I was happy we got a trivia challenge. And this was one of the better trivia challenges that we've gotten. It had a nice mix of challenge and just knowledge stuff. And it was fun having them over the building, getting yanked and then let go. But what do y'all think of the daily challenges? What was your favorite? What was your not so favorite?
My favorite was trivia, and I also liked the trampoline up the stairs because I don't think I ever saw that before, and it looked really hard jumping up all of those stairs. And I also like the one where they had to pull the flags and they were getting swept like this by their partner, and they had to pull the flags. That was fun to me. The only one I didn't like was the very first one. I didn't like that run around the boats and slam dunk the skull. That was kind of boring to me. Yeah. And like TJ said, nobody wanted to try to walk, but I feel like if anybody would have walked, they would have failed because that thing was wobbly. But
yeah,
I enjoyed all the dailies. They had really good dailies. Send some of those over to the regular challenge.
That's the thing, though. It's like TJ can't get mad at everybody for doing something that you said nothing about. Like, they're going to do the best they can getting over it. And Nehemiah even tried to do it and felt on his kingly scepter. So, I mean, you gotta, if you don't want him to walk or crawl on the thing, you gotta tell him you can't crawl on the thing. You gotta walk across it if you want to see some falls like Wipeout. But yeah, that's what killed me about it. I was like, who cares, TJ? Leave it alone.
I think my favorite daily challenge was closer to the end, actually, where they had to go a half a mile to see the puzzle, half a mile back to see the thing with the skulls, where Jasmine was scared to jump in the water. I think that was my favorite because it reminded me of a final. It gave you had to do the endurance portion, you had to do memorization. That was my favorite daily. My least favorite was the first one. The truck, you had to jump on the truck, untie the knots.
Oh, yeah.
None of the guys got that done.
Oh.
I didn't like that.
The one where Brad yanked him.
Yeah, Brad thought he was the Hulk. And I also did not like the trampoline to smack the thing down.
Oh, I like that one.
I didn't like that one. I thought that was just like, okay.
It looked hard.
And then it was like a math problem at the end that we didn't really even get to see them solve. It was just like, ooh, you got it right. No. Okay, can we see it? But yeah.
I think that was the boring part that nobody wanted to show on it. But yeah, we did. I will say that I like the math problem at the finals, like the second phase of the finals. I paused that thing and I was like doing it by myself. I was like, it took me 20 minutes to do it without a sheet of paper. I was like, I'm gonna do it if I was there, and I was just like, what does
you have to have
the
a
sundress
sheet of paper.
mean? It was tough, man.
I love those type of problems. I was going to say, it seems like the new training for the challenge is an Algebra 101 class. They have so much math on these challenges. And it's like, I guess they said these little, what they call them, tandegrams are too easy. Let's put some algebra on the board.
Well, you know what's really funny is like, they don't even give those types of problems with like symbols or anything on the main season. They just give them a full-on math problem, and that they seem to be having trouble with that. I want to see them with these symbols and see how like long it takes. Like, what does salsa
They'll
mean?
never. They can't even do 2+2 on the main season. They can't even do addition and subtraction. They'll never get the algebra. They'll never get it.
That would have been funny. I mean, let's be real. Well, we're not at the finals yet. All right.
What were your favorite challenges? Yeah.
My favorite challenge, I would have to say, is I like the dive and conquer. It was a fun, like it pushed everybody to their limits, and we even saw like Brad and Jody won so many of these daily challenges. But when it came down to the quote unquote mini final of the season, they were cracking. Like they showed that they had their flaws, and even with like Brad and Jody was freaking out. So to me, that just showed like it's not going to be a good time for them in the finals if they can make it to the finals, which I still can't believe they didn't make it to the finals. But oh my gosh, the square. I mean, we had a problem with the long square with Nelson in the finals. Like couldn't even do the square. What's a rectangle? But I like that one. Hold on, I forgot to plug in my laptop. Talk amongst yourselves.
That Nelson one is hilarious. I remember he was like, "It's a square." I was like, "It's a rectangle." He's like, "It's the same thing." I'm like, they could never do that algebra problem on the main season.
Yeah, I just
I'm back.
This season, the challenges to me were just overall more exciting because they weren't just one-dimensional challenges. Almost all of them had an aspect of puzzle,
physical
endurance, and you had to work with your partner. Sometimes they tether them together, literally tied them together. So
I like them that tethered together.
I really enjoyed whoever the team was that made the challenges, even for the eliminations. I loved elimination. Well, we're not there yet, but the challenges this season, I really enjoyed them.
I mean, we can go to the eliminations. I just wanted to see what everybody thought about the daily challenges. I mean, this is so different. I mean, I don't think we even know what to do about this and talking about it because we've talked about double agents and challenge 37, and we just have so much to critique. And this, when talking about a season that we like, it's kind of like, I do like all of it. Like there's hardly a challenge to be like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to be like, I hate this for this. I mean, there's always going to be something to critique or something that could be tighter or something that could be better. But for a challenge season to be this good, I mean, it's unheard of. It's almost unprecedented to like talk about it and be like, what do I have to say bad about it? Because like we were talking about, I mean, some of the daily challenges were sort of boring, like the first one with everybody doing the same booty scoot going over it. I mean, the dunks were cool, but other than that, I mean, it was pretty much wash, rinse, and repeat, and it came down to time and stuff. But when you compare it to everything else,
could not see.
They were great. Yeah, that's, of course. And it came down to like 2 seconds, 1 second, whatever it did. I mean, it came down to like a quarter of a second, whatever TJ wants to say.
I never believe him when he says that, mind you. Even when it came down to the Brad and Jody versus Durell and is it Janelle elimination? Talks it's 1 kilogram.
It's 1 kilo.
I don't believe.
Mind you, they had the scale on the thing. They could have showed us the numbers. The scale was right there.
I don't believe it. Didn't believe it.
I completely agree. I mean, everything has to be 1 second, 2 minutes, everything has to be that. It has to be so close. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be. It could just be a blowout if you want it to be. So let's do 1 through 5, 5 being the best daily challenges ever. Most of them were fantastic. All of them were fantastic. Or 1 being none of these worked. Like these were the worst daily challenges. I didn't like them at all. Charles, would you like to start things off? You're always the more opinionated / decimal point
right. I'm gonna give my daily challenges, I would give it a 4.25. Now that's high now, but I'm giving it a 4.25, especially in comparison to what we've been getting from the regular season. For me, it's a 4.25. there was only 3 of them that I did not particularly like. But I genuinely was excited to see the daily challenge for every episode because I like the fact that you're going to give me endurance, the puzzle, all of it, and the teams were balanced. The teams were balanced. So mine's a 4.25.
Okay,
I'm gonna
Angie.
be like Charles. I'm giving mine a 4.48.
Not the
I
0.02 off. Okay.
I I enjoy. Blame it on the Stella Rose, y'all. But I enjoyed all the daily challenges except for that first one, so it deserves to get a
You
high
got Dr.
score.
Phil in the house?
Who? I got Stella Rose in the house.
No, Dr. Phil commented.
Oh,
Somebody named
I
Dr.
I
Phil.
can't see them comments. They too small. I have to look at them on a rewatch. But I enjoyed everything, and I just want to say, Drew, hold on to the final. I got some stuff to critique. Everything ain't all love. Just wait till we get to that segment. But a 4.48 is the daily challenges for me.
Yeah, we're rating the daily challenges. If I didn't make that, if I didn't say it enough to where everybody could understand what I was saying, but we're critiquing the daily challenges. We're rating the daily challenge out of 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst daily challenges. Everybody's really high on the daily challenges, and I have to be high as well. I mean, I really don't think there was ever a daily challenge that I kind of loathed at all in this. I think the first one was a pretty basic one. But I mean, they kicked it up a notch throughout the whole season. Like everything was always so competitive. Everybody did such a good job. I mean, besides like the few players, I think just like Katie was just like the one that wanted to give up on the high rise, but everybody else put in the effort. I mean, even Casey, who had a
She
problem with
did.
heights, won the
Mm-hmm.
trivia challenge over heights. She jumped into that water. She was hanging off the back of that truck, which was a great daily challenge as well. So to me, I'm going to give this a 4.323. I don't even know why I did that many decimals. I just want to get into the decimal business.
Y'all just
with
wanted to
everybody.
outdo me, huh? Going to the
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now let's get okay, Charles. Now we're gonna get into the eliminations. So going over the eliminations.
Loved them.
So going over the eliminations, we had dead weight, which was the
That was
second
good.
episode's daily challenge, but it was the first because we had a split between episode 1 and 2. So that was the dead weight with the math problems and the big old coffins. Then you had the fireball with the tic-tac-toe board. Wait, there's more, which was the weight and then the puzzle with all the colored skulls. Switchback, which was the skulls and having to turn your light on and turn your opponent's light off. Pole wrestle, of course. Like Clockwork with Nehemiah and Melinda in the glass case with Laterian and Jasmine, and then Smash House with Durell and Janelle beating Brad and Jody with all those cinder blocks in the room. Charles, you were dying to get to the eliminations. What do you think about the eliminations?
I freaking loved. I'm giving it. Oh, do I have to give my rating? I loved the eliminations. The eliminations were not just a singular thing this season. Like again, when they had to pick up the sandbags, then they have to do a puzzle at the end. So that gives a balance to it. It wasn't just like a big Fessy is gonna come in here and, like they said, hall brawl everybody to the end. Right. You would have to not only out carry the bags, but you would have to know how to do that puzzle at the end too. Like
The puzzle
to
was
me,
first.
right. And there weren't many challenges where they even had a touch. So you can't pick on the small guy to be like, oh, I'm gonna beat you. Well, you never know. Because Jay beat CT when in an elimination they didn't have to touch. So yeah,
I like the
them.
touching eliminations. I think those are good, but I do agree they need to have more eliminations like this on the regular season where anybody could win. Because, like you said, Charles, there's a mental piece and a physical piece. It's not all mental. It's not all physical. But I agree with a few people in the chat. The only elimination I didn't like was tic tac toe, and I also did not like the build a clock that Nehemiah and LT and them had to do. That was kind of womp womp to me as well. But everything else was exciting. I mean, of course, the one team to quit wasn't exciting because I really liked that elimination of running and clicking the lights, and I would have liked to see which woman would have won. But
Right.
for the most part, and I enjoyed all the eliminations.
The tic tac toe was great idea. I feel like the person in the competition was the issue. I feel like if it was actually two competitive people that were on
Runners,
the same wavelength for that tic tac toe, and it was like the fireballs they had to put in, it would have been great. The fact that the female that was playing, the woman that was playing, kept just putting it in the wrong slot, I feel like that's what ruined it. But I don't think it was a bad idea. I like the tic tac toe. I would have rather seen like a Nehemiah versus Derek at the tic tac toe, because then they would both be sprinting and trying to get it right. So
ooh, maybe we might get that next season. Like
that would
since
have been
y'all want to
hot.
battle, go into elimination against each other.
Right. Y'all would have
That would
loved
be
tic
pretty
tac toe
good.
then.
Yeah, I think the tic tac toe would have to be my least favorite just because of how simple it was. Like everything else was a lot more gripping, I thought, and had a lot more to do in the different aspects of it. I think the tic tac toe was fine for what it was, and you're always not going to have like A+ on every single elimination or anything. But I think what you said, Charles, was that is completely right. That on paper it was like, oh, this is going to come down to brain and speed. Like the players are going to have to figure it out, but will their mind work as fast as their legs are running and pumping? And we saw that both who were in those with Sophia and Jody and Kahutta, and who was Kahutta going up against?
Was it Derek?
Dang, Ryan.
Ryan.
But
Okay.
but Kahutta was faster than Ryan. So when Kahutta got to that board, he was able to like check where he wanted to actually put his fireball. So that's another thing, is like it came down to more of who had the best speed.
The speed.
So I think to me, the rest of the eliminations were at another level. Like, first of all, don't name your elimination fireball. I didn't like the other fireball that was in Total Madness. We don't need to set things on fire. Let's just not set anything else on fire. Let's just do that.
Agreed. Agreed.
I have to say that I really liked the last elimination the most, with Durell and Janelle, Brad and Jody, the breaking
good.
one.
That
was
really
a great
good.
one. Not only was the matchup really good, but just the elimination itself was really good, and you couldn't tell who won. But I do agree that we should have gotten they had the scale right there.
Just show us the scale. Turn it on.
Yeah, exactly. What do you got to hide? If it's a kilo, show us the kilo.
Right.
But I did
It's
like the
just
first
one.
elimination the best, because Ayana her coffin was levitating across the sand, where Nehemiah and Derek were breaking their backs. Ayana was like, come on, this looked like something she do in her backyard every day. And I think that was the elimination where people feared Ayana in elimination. And so I like that one the best, but I agree. Stop setting things on fire as well.
That was her coming home moment. I don't know if I'm saying that correct, but she went over there to Leah, I think that was her name, and she was helping her. She was like, we're gonna finish together. We're not gonna. Girls was up there crying. They was
had a teary eye.
Greatest TV moment ever.
It was history. Good TV. I had a teary eye.
Those eliminations where Ayana, I keep calling her Ayanla, like Ayanla Van Zandt. Ayana came to life. So loved the eliminations. Loved them.
I think to play to what you were saying, Charles, about the song, I mean, the sound drop during that scene of Ayana helping Leah also added to that moment. I mean, again, whoever was editing,
crying.
Oh my God. It was great. I mean, everything. Let's get back to I don't want to get too much into the music again, but my gosh, the music was fantastic. I mean, the moment I remember the most was the dramatic music behind Ayana telling Jody that she ate the salad after the votes were already read. And now Ayana's like, all right, now I can speak. And she's like, this is what really happened. It was amazing. It was great. It made the moment. Every song made the moment. Was what was going on. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad they gave them at least helmets because Jody was getting hit in the head with those cinder blocks from from Brad a lot. Is there, so we already talked about it. I mean, so since we're on the subject and we kind of already talked about the Kahada thing in the format, but this is where it actually showed up. Because in episode 6, what do you guys think is the reason why in episode 6, Latyrian got to go up against Tyler by himself and get to stay in the game and take Jasmine as his partner? And then in the very next episode, it was announced that Casey was pregnant, had to be pulled, and then Kahada had to walk out the door with her. What did y'all think about that? Did you think that, like, were you confused at why they were doing that? Do you think Kahada should have gotten a chance of going down there into the elimination? Or do you think them's the rules? Like, hit the road, Jack kind of thing? Like, what, Angie, you seem to be a lot more expressive during this. What do you think about the whole Kahada situation?
First off, when I said it in my review, I thought the situation was highly unfair, but I was here for it because we saved the palace. But they stated the rules during KC's, we formed these collective teams that cannot be broken during Casey's was it Casey? Yeah, during Kendall's situation. Like, that was supposed to be your partner when Kendall got hurt. So if fair is fair, Latyrian should have went home. But we saved the palace and we let Latyrian pole wrestle with Tyler. It just seemed very strange the very next week. It's like, okay, we're not even gonna let Nehemiah and Kahada fight it out for Melinda. I mean, fair is fair. If I was Kahada, I would have said something. But since they saved the palace, I didn't care that much. But I thought it was very unfair that they didn't let those two at least. You got the elimination already set up. Let the boys do it.
Okay. What do you think about it, Charles?
What do the numbers? Okay, I understand that a man went home during the LT Tyler, but the next episode they're paired, right? Everybody's paired.
Mm-hmm.
Casey goes home, so what are we? A woman short? Like if
you would have been a woman short, but Kahada and Nehemiah could have fought it out, and then Melinda could have just been whoever wins partner like the week before. They could have just did the same thing.
So Kahada would have went down against the last place person.
Nehemiah.
Is that the idea?
Mm-hmm. And whoever wins gets to be partners with Melinda. So who came in last
place that challenge? Who came in last
Tech
place?
and Ayana.
So he would have went against Tech. It would have been Tech versus Kahada.
I thought it was Nehemiah and Melinda.
No, it was Tech and Ayana because they got the least amount of flags after Latyrian and Jasmine, but because Latyrian got the win against shield. Tyler, they had the life shield. So Tech and Ayana went
saved Tech
directly
and Ayana.
I would have been. Blame it on the Stella Rose. I would have liked to see the Kahada versus Tech. That would have been good. I don't know exactly what I would want to see them do, but I would want to see them do something with the physical, the puzzle, all of it. We need a combination to fight to stay. I don't know what kind of team a Kahada and a Ayana would have been. Yikes. But
he would have had a chance. I just feel like fair is fair. Like, give Kahada a chance to stay. Yeah, even if he would have lost, okay, I lost. I go home with Casey, but at least give me a chance.
Yeah, even even Kahutta came out onto Instagram and was saying like, why couldn't I have gotten a chance out there, at least done something, maybe an arm wrestle against somebody to try to see if I could stay in. He wasn't mad about Casey. I think it was just more the frustrations that
Yeah,
like why
production
why
wouldn't let him have a
why couldn't
chance.
I have at least gotten a chance, or something should have happened. Some audience members are saying that it could have been because Laterian and Jasmine was voted in to the elimination in episode 6, so they would have had a shot while Casey didn't say anything, and so they were stayed out of elimination or being voted in. And if maybe they were voted in, maybe they would have done the same thing as episode 7. My thought process, and I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, is that I think they would have thought it would have been super unfair to make the teams individual and then put them into pairs. And then the second they put them into pairs and they're tied up to each other, Kendall has to go home, instantly screwing Laterian out of being able to
Laterian.
being in the game after they just dropped everything onto them about being paired up with each other. So they were able to maybe swap up the elimination at the last minute, get a pole somewhere to where the guys could have done the pole wrestle, but everything else was on a track to be pairs, like what we saw with Nehemiah and Melinda going up against Laterian and Jasmine, where it was like a paired situation. Like they weren't going to be going solo rounds. So if they didn't want to do another pole wrestle, and they're kind of like, well, we don't have anything else to do that's easily able to be thrown back in there, and we don't want to do a second pole wrestle in a row, we'll just throw Kahutta and Casey out
He has to
together,
go.
which is unfair because it doesn't make any sense after you just did something for Laterian and then you
Yeah,
have this going, which seems
I
like the
can
very same
see. I
thing.
can see how that
That's
makes sense.
that's my thought process, but I still don't enjoy it. I still don't like it. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if they would have done solo wise or a free agent style throughout the whole thing, they would have been able to navigate this a little bit better. But I feel like that's more on formatting than eliminations. I just wanted to touch upon it because it was such a big moment.
It was.
But then again, I mean, I still really like the projection of the season, but I don't want to see this happening in season 3. Like, I don't want this to become a thing where I'm like, episodes in, I'm like questioning what's going on kind of thing.
In season 3, I'm begging for no one to quit. I don't want to see anybody quitting a daily challenge or an elimination in season 3. And if you quit either in season 3, you cannot come back to 4.
I don't. To be honest, y'all, I don't think season 3 is going to be as good as season 2. Looking at the cast, I think the cast is very strong, but the cast is going to be very leaning one side versus the other. It's not go. It's I don't even want to get my hopes up to be like Safety Palace, because girl, that palace might be gone after episode 3. So I'm just saying, season 3, don't want to get my hopes up too high because it's not. I don't think it's going to be a part 2 to this season.
Charles, you always I don't know. I don't know. You do this
I mean,
every season.
I mean, it's good not to be like overhyping everything, but I mean, I do it like every single season. I'm like, oh, it could be like this. And then by halfway through the main season, I'm like, oh boy, how many episodes do we got? Like 12 more? Holy crap.
Right. And every
I'm
time
like,
it's like, oh, we hate this season. This season's not
I'm an
that great.
overhyper, and then I'm gonna drag it after it starts. But I'm an overhyper in the beginning.
I get too
No,
excited. Like just knowing that we have another season and episodes and content, I just get so excited. But you bring up a good point. What do we think about Tina and Tina's elimination against Melinda? What was that all about? I mean, she could have done whatever she wanted. She could have at least tried. She could have been like jogging at least or fast walking, but to go into the middle of the ring and just be like, while Melinda's
I'm
running
about to
around this
tell
whole
you what
thing.
it's about, Drew. I'm about to tell you what it's about. Tina don't give a damn about being on TV, being a bitch or mean or whatever she was saying. I don't want to be how I was back in the day. Tina don't give a damn. Tina knew she couldn't outrun Melinda. So she said, I'm just going to stay here to save my image because I'm coming back season 3 and she going to be a bitch and she going to be a mean girl on season 3. So Tina, I see you for your works. You just didn't want Melinda to beat you because there's no way you getting on this good TV talking about, oh, my character, I don't want to go backwards in my character. And you just gonna stand in the middle just to come back the next season to get your character tested again.
Yeah, she didn't
So
want
that's
to. She didn't want it to be like she genuinely lost. She can
right.
now say, "I quit. It
I
was
quit.
me. I chose to leave." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is the
Yep.
T.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's
That's what it
exactly it.
is.
I think that's it.
We we
I
see
think we can
Tina
move
for
on
her
after that.
works. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's gonna be so interesting what's gonna happen next season with Veronica there. I think, yeah, she wants to say that's a new Tina, but there's no way. Anyways,
No, Tina
I have
gonna be
nothing
the
to add to
exact
that.
same. Yes.
Yeah, you mic dropped, as Brendo would say. Mic drop. We're done. So we're gonna go straight to ratings. 1 through 5. What do you think about the eliminations this season? 5 being these were the best eliminations. More than like 80% of them worked for me. Or 1 being the worst, absolute worst. I can't stand these eliminations. Nothing made sense. What would you rate these eliminations out of 5, 1 through 5? Angie, what would you say?
I'm not going to play with the decimal points this time. I'm just going to give it a 4 because there were 2 eliminations I did not like. So it just gets a solid 4. It doesn't get any extra. So that's my grade.
Girl, you tripping. I'm giving it a 5. These eliminations for me were all great. I'm giving it a 5. 5 out of 5. 10
So it was
across the
perfect.
board.
All eliminations were perfect.
On paper, they were all perfect. We can't help that one girl was not good at tic-tac-toe. That doesn't clear all of the eliminations, baby. The eliminations were great. We just
Not the
may
clock
need
in
to
the
have 2
sand.
different people playing it.
Not the clock in the sand. That was not great.
I love that one too because he couldn't lay on his like, oh, I'm good at pole wrestling. No, baby. You got to communicate. You got to be able to see. And your partner got to be able to translate the message onto that map puzzle. So I loved it because that was a super, it's an equalizer. All those competitions were equalizers.
I will give it a 4.75. I think just the tic-tac-toe one didn't work for me. But I thought everything worked really well during these eliminations this season. Like, when I tell you that I would go from watching at 8 o'clock at night the main challenge season, and I would go to bed going like, man, I got to talk about this season, but then be excited knowing that when I'm done, I can watch All Stars, and it was right there waiting for me. I was done. I was like, yeah, let's do this thing. I can't wait to watch this. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.75. Now, Angie wanted to talk about it. She's been holding on to it. We're talking about the finals. We're talking about the finals. TJ, at the end of the Smash House, says, everybody meet me at the beach. I got some hammocks and stumps waiting for you. And we're going directly into the night portion. Then we're going to wake up, and you're going to be running laps until I give you some disgusting bug burritos. And then you're going to be running to a plane and try to catch it like, what was it? Tom Cruise in that Mission Impossible Rogue Nation movie when he got the side of the airplane. I don't know. What did y'all think about the finals? I'm gonna throw it over to Charles real quick because I think Angie has a lot to say about the finals. So I'm gonna give it to Charles. What do you have to say about the finals, Charles?
This final was probably the most intense. Is intense the correct word? It was the most challenging. Let that be the correct word. I think this final was the most challenging final we've had I don't want to say ever, but in a very,
A very long time.
Because usually on the main season, we run for half a mile and we stop. We run for half a mile and we stop. It was none of that this season. This season, you had to pick which station you were going to do, and you, baby, just had to do it. No matter if you were on this one for 2 hours, you were on that one for 4 hours, y'all were trucking and trying to make it work. I loved it. It was a nonstop challenge until the moment where one team didn't have to do all three. I did not like that moment. That right there, I feel like Johnny and her partner should have been required to finish and get all three pieces. And if they did not get all three pieces, because Johnny was about to quit, if they didn't get all three pieces, they too should have been eliminated at that stage of the competition. But that is my thoughts and my feelings.
Real quick, I just want to throw this out there that there was an advantage, that people are coming out saying that there was an advantage to winning the first phase of the finals, and it was a time advantage in the eating. Apparently, Nehemiah and Melinda got a minute head start to eat. Well, then 30 seconds over the second place. So they got 30 seconds over Darrell and Janelle to start eating, and then they got a full minute over MJ and Johnny to eat. Not enough, in my opinion. First of all, they should have said the incentive beforehand that last place team gets eliminated, first place gets an advantage. So be sure to not get last place, but try to get first place because you're going to get an advantage. And then they should have taken off a food particle or something like, hey, you don't have to eat a full burrito or half a burrito or whatever. Like that should have been the incentive, not a minute or half a minute. Half a second.
There was a lot of food on that table. That was a lot of food. In the math portion, I love the math and running. So
yeah, I agree. And I will say that I feel like Johnny was having a moment. She was having a frantic moment. I don't think she was ever really going to quit, but I do agree that she should have finished, or they should have finished. But granted, I think whether Ayanna and Tech stuck it out, they were going to win anyways, but they should have been shown like, hey, you had to finish it. I mean, they were halfway through that board anyways, but they should have finished it. But that's just the piece I wanted to say. I like the finals. The finals was cool. Second phase, I think they were running out of time, and they were kind of just like, let's just speed it up. Like, we're just going to have a table here with food. You got to finish that math problem, and you're playing. Go catch it. Like, that was it. Like, I feel like they were running out of time. I think they went into like a second quarantine at one point. So I feel like in phase 2, they were running out of sunlight, running out of timing and everything. So to me, that was the only thing that kind of screwed me up was phase 2. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I like the everything.
I have a lot to say. Let me let the dog out because he's about to bark. Hold on.
Okay. But yeah, I think the first part was fantastic. Phase 1 with the mandala, I really liked all those puzzles.
It reminds me of the challenge where we had Cara, had, I think Jordan was there, and what was that tall girl? She was kind of like a Jersey. She was a real big girl. She was tall. I don't remember, but they had to do all those different stations. Like, they had all the different stations, but then they had to get the bike in the sand. Turbo was there too. What Turbo was that?
War of the Worlds 2. That's what I just said.
That's what it reminded me of, where they had the different stations where you just had to pick which one in which order you wanted to do them and do the laps. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
I was saying that in another live last week or yesterday, which was War of the Worlds, where they had the nucleus in the middle and you had to do laps, and then you had to come in, do some carnival games, do some more carnival games, and do some laps, and you had to do it. Like, that, to me, that was the hardest final.
That was an amazing final.
Yeah, and it was
this reminded me of.
It was Maddie. She's not. I don't think she's from New Jersey. She's like Party
Maddie.
Down South.
Yeah,
Maddie.
Yeah.
She's not from Jersey. She seems like a Jersey.
No.
Party Down South. and
Okay.
Florida Bama Shore, and then she's off TV forever because of social
Her
media.
DUIs.
And yeah, I think she almost killed
too.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's besties with Bailey though. She's been on Bailey's channel a couple times. Anyways.
Oh.
I don't watch Bailey,
All right.
but okay, so I'm out of Stella
Angie, this is all
Rose,
you.
so I got a lot to say. Number one, I truly, highly, this is one of my favorite finals ever of TJ's. It was very hard. It required a lot of endurance, a lot of mental ability. It gave me everything I needed for a final. But this is where production and all of their fingers I saw. The first thing that is highly unfair is Johnny and MJ should have been required to finish part one. If anything, by them not finishing part one, they have not used as much energy as the other teams had to use. And number two, a 30-second advantage ain't no advantage. And for you to tell me, oh, we gave them 30 seconds, but I couldn't even see the 30 seconds on TV, you could have kept that. So there was no point, because in the past, last season, we saw CT and Amber B get a whole 5-minute advantage. And you telling me all Nehemiah and Melinda get is 30 seconds? What did Durell get, 15? Like, you could have kept them seconds on this. The second thing I noticed, when Melinda threw up her roach or whatever fish eye burrito, she had to pick it up off the ground and put it back in her mouth. It seemed like every bite MJ took was a vomit that stayed on the ground. So that was the next thing. Right. That was the next thing that was unfair to me. And lastly, I don't want to go way down a conspiracy rabbit hole, but it did seem like either Darrell and Janelle got their math all the way wrong, or only Johnny and MJ's lock will open. It just seemed mighty convenient. Could nobody else figure out a combination lock but them? But other than all of that, I be looking at you, production, and mind you, I'm still happy for Johnny. I ain't gonna take nothing away from Johnny, except for her not finishing part one. I could care less about MJ, so it's like indifferent. It's easy to hate on MJ because I really don't care about him. But overall, you're gonna need an entertainment girl. Come back and see if you can do it again, season 3. TJ, all finals need to be this difficult or above. If it ain't like at least this, that's not a final to me. And that was it. I'll wrap that up kind of fast.
I will say that I'm with you on the whole MJ part. Like, I don't care about MJ whatsoever. Like, out of everybody that was left on that final 2 phase, like, I couldn't care less about him. Like, I wanted to see everybody else win. I couldn't care less for him. So when he was tied to John A, I was like, oh boy, I have to root for him to root for John A. But I loved everybody. The ending, I want to just bring this up. The ending to that was so wonky to me. It felt so weird because at one point, if you see the lighting when they're at the doing the math problems and then running back,
it's dark.
It's so dark. Like, I'm like, did they have to run back and come back? Like, it just felt so weird that it was just so dark and it was like pure nighttime by the time they got to their saves on the other side when they were doing the math problem. I did read somewhere that somebody said that MJ and John A did finish the math problem before Durell and Janelle. But then again, the editing was so wonky at the end. I just couldn't tell. It was janky to the point.
How could they have finished and we saw them, Janelle and them, running first? Like, I don't know. The edit was messed up. But I thought of 2 more things. I'm going to say them real quick. Number 1, shout out to Nehemiah and Melinda for even winning part 1 after they went down a whole path in the wrong direction at first. So I was amazed that they even won that because they wasted so much time. And number 2, this another conspiracy hole. I'm just gonna deep dive real quick. To me, Ayana don't have any quit in her. I don't see quit in Ayana's, none of her energy. And She was talking all the shit to Janelle, talking about, girl, you can't pass me. You want to pass me? You better be faster. She was talking all the shit. Girl, I ain't moving over. This is as close to the edge I'm gonna get. You better make a way. So she talking all this mess just to be like, oh, TJ, I can't take another step. You can't take another step. Now I'm not gonna say, because in my live somebody said production paid Ayana $100,000 to quit.
I
I
don't
don't
believe
think they
that.
paid her 100. They might have gave her a good 25. But
I
I
don't
just don't
believe
see no quitting
that.
Ayana.
I don't believe
And it was
that.
no,
I don't
okay.
believe
She's
that.
talking about quitting. You telling me Nehemiah, Melinda, even Tech was like, well, girl, if you gonna quit, we could quit. Even TJ didn't say I hate quitters. He was like, girl, you gonna quit, you could quit. I didn't like how everybody was at least encouraging her. Like, girl, you can't take
Right.
another step. Okay, you can go
See,
home. It's okay, girl.
I
Mm-mm.
agree with that. I agree with the fact that you could tell they were okay with her quitting. I
Yeah.
didn't like that. But I do believe they were doing this final for hours, because
Oh
Had
one
to
yeah.
of the
be.
confessionals, it said that they said that Ayana and Tech took like 2.5 hours to get the first piece.
To get that puzzle.
They've been
Yeah.
they were carrying those puzzle pieces for over 2 hours, and Ayana she's not in the best shape. Let's be real. She's like in Anissa shape. So yes, she's a fighter, yes, but baby, even myself, and I find myself very athletic. If we gonna keep going for hours and hours and hours, and I don't see the end, you never know. You might just be
But
out
they
of it
were
and tired of
walking.
it.
And Janae and MJ were walking too. It's not like Janae and MJ were sprinting down the path to the answer key and back. Both of them were walking. And to me, Tech and Ayana are mentally stronger. Like, they've been killing puzzles all season. I just felt like everybody was kind of encouraging her. Like, girl, you want to quit? Because we want Janae to come on and quit too and let her be in part 3, but you just got to quit first. That's how it came off to
Yeah.
me.
Well, Johnny was about to quit. Johnny was about to quit.
Right. And it seemed like MJ said, girl, Ayana getting ready to quit. Production just told me just keep walking. As soon as Ayana quit, we good.
And, well, and that's the thing is, I feel like I don't think Ayana was gonna win or anything, and I think that maybe she was pushed in the direction of wanting to quit because they were so far behind. I mean, if we believe the
Mm-hmm.
edit, from what the edit showed, they were just starting the memory portion,
Mm-hmm.
and they were only got four correct by the time they had to go back to the board. And MJ and Johnny had been working on it for a while. Ooh, we have to read an ew interview to explain that, which explains everything.
The
But to
EW.
me,
What is
but to me,
EW?
Entertainment Weekly.
Entertainment Weekly.
Entertainment Weekly, because I'm thinking of Entertainment Tonight. Okay, Entertainment Weekly.
But my thing is, if so, Ayana and Tech quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they quit, and with them quitting, we still got pitch dark, black as night, having to run to this plane, and then everybody's walking off this tarmac in the dead of night, about to go walk through the forest again. I mean, to me, if they didn't quit, what time were they going to get through this final? Like, if everybody pushed
Exactly.
through, how long would it have been? So to me, it's like, okay, so we got this far and we got to being out how late. I mean, if she, I don't necessarily know if she was going to get paid, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, okay, you're really far behind. If you just want to stop, like, we can just stop
I
this,
I
because
don't
it
think
probably
she
would have
had to
been
be
an
coerced.
hour.
You don't think so?
I can genuinely, I've been exhausted before. I can genuinely believe she was tired enough to want to quit. I don't know why that's hard to
Okay.
believe.
I just seen the fighter in her all season. It's like this fighter who has entertained us all season, talked shit all season, was talking shit all final. It's just like, I can't do it no more. I quit. I would have rather they encouraged her to be like, girl, just walk down the path one more time, or just at least walk over there a little bit. John and them getting ready to finish. That way, at least, okay, you came in last. I just didn't like to see the quit in Ayana. So I understand.
I
But
agree.
we used to seeing people pass out, like going to the point of, okay, like they mental so strong, I'm gonna keep doing this, but then their body just say give out. It was kind of like her mental gave out before her body.
Yeah, but I don't want to see that either. I wouldn't want to see her fall out.
Yeah,
TV.
I agree. That's another thing is K and K Adventure says it right here. I mean, this is why they have a true 2-day final. I understand what they were going for with starting out with the overnight portion so they could have a one night, or this could be technically 2 days. But if you have this is why you try to do that's why the second day is always short. So you know you can get it done in the right sunlight, in the right timing, and you have enough time to have that final punch moment. Whereas this, they were trying to cram too much into one portion to where it was too much. It didn't work out the way that I think they had planned on it. And that's why I think once they got done with everything, because let's be real, once Ayana and Tech quit, it's still bright as day. Like, it is super bright out there. If they already had the phase 2 already set up, it wouldn't have taken that long to walk over there and been like, all right, eat this, run over there and get over here. I really do think that something happened, whether, I don't know if it was like a week, like a day or two before they were going into the finals. They were like, this isn't going to work. We need to swap it up with these finals at the last, because we've seen them do that before in the main season or what. But to me, that phase 2 was not that. They didn't plan that when they first started out the season. And then something had to change in the middle of it, going like, all right, we just need to wrap this up. We got a plane, we got some safes, let's just go for it, kind of thing. Because that's just my opinion. I just don't think that was what they were planning originally.
I can see that. I think maybe if they would have took out one of those puzzles, maybe that spin the wheel one where they had to do redemption and perseverance, if they would have made go into the cave, the eating portion, like a checkpoint where you have to eat, and then say, okay, that's your third. What did they say that thing was called? A mandala. So you finished it with the eating portion, and then to win, like once you get your mandala, then you run back to the beginning of the thing, solve the safe thing, and then you win. And then it could have been no stop and go, no coming first, and like stop eliminating people. If they make it to the final, let them run the whole damn final and try to win. And then it could be one day. Like stop and go. Like the eating should have been one checkpoint. Then you run back to the beginning, solve the puzzle. Bam, you done.
Yeah, that was brought up in my live yesterday, was that it should have just been one full go, like one full sweep, because that would have given Melinda and Nehemiah the advantage. At least, like, we would have seen the advantage of getting first. You have to run down here to get to the eating portion, and then you get jumping into doing all this other stuff. Like, that would have been, just make it one full smooth motion instead of resetting everything. And yeah, I agree. Nobody cares about the plane. They made a huge deal about that dang plane.
Yeah,
like,
they
nobody
didn't even
cares.
take off. I was waiting for them to take off. I'm like, they just gonna ride up and down the runway? Okay.
I don't think they're allowed to. I don't think they have their passports or anything. So that
Oh,
would be
I was just
illegal for
thinking
them
for
to
the
like
entertainment value just to take
Oh
off.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. I did like the imagery. The imagery of them two sitting there in the private jet with him, even though to me TJ is so boring. But yeah.
What about the idea of, because someone brought it up, where it seemed like once MJ and Johnny got their money in the bag, everyone quit. It was like, okay, they won. Like, why didn't anybody else try to unlock their thing, sprint, and try to beat MJ and Johnny? Because it's not like Johnny the fastest runner. And you could have pulled a 1-2 on them. And Durell and Janelle maybe could have outran them. Like, it seemed like everybody quit once one person opened the safe.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they literally stopped. They didn't even keep turning it. Nobody was even still. Girl, I would have been so desperate for that $500,000. I would have still been twisting that lock.
Well, there is a point. I will say this. There is a point when I could probably tell the frustration in Durell, but there was a point when they left, they started running off, and Janelle is sitting on the ground just going, you know what? Good for them. And you could see Darrell in the background still flipping that dial, I was like, yeah, Durell, do it. Cause he's thinking I
Right.
could just grab all this
I could
cash in my
outrun
hand
them.
and then just take
Yeah.
off. Like I'm just gone. Cause they were just jogging. They thought they had that. And they did because
And the
everybody gave
plane
up. But
wasn't close. That was a good run. So you could have
yeah.
sprinted and beat them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, keep going. This is 500 grand. You're not gonna just sit. You're just gonna sit there and be like, whatever. They got it. Good for them. You know what? Good for them. I was like, no, I will say that probably Melinda wouldn't have been able to do a dead sprint because of the way she messed up her ankle. So I could see why she would be frustrated. But I'm Darrell. I'm taking off. I could beat MJ in a dead sprint. I'm like, let's go. Let's do this thing. I can't beat Corey, but I can beat MJ.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we talked about the finals. What did we think about the finals in terms of ratings, 1 through 5? 5 being the best finals ever done. Everything was tip top and everything was great. 1 being not it. Try again, production. You did not do well at this. Angie, you were the most animated. You had the most to say about these finals. What did you think about them?
I talked the most crap about the final, but I'm still going to give it a 4.5. It was a hard final. It was difficult. It still entertained me. And mind you, I didn't even get mad about the final until I heard the tea afterwards. And I was like, oh, that wasn't fair. But I'm going to give it a 4.5. It wasn't the best final I ever seen. I still have seen better finals on the regular challenge. But this needs to be the standard, at least, for finals going on. This or above. So 4.5. I see a lot of people giving it a 2 and a 3.
I mean, some people are giving it close to 2.
I'm gonna give it a 4.33. I feel like it was really good. I really enjoyed it. 4 1/3 is my vote. Yeah, I think it's getting some flack, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like it was truly an equalizing type of final. I feel like you really had to be on your endurance. It doesn't matter if you're big and muscly or had the most connections. None of that mattered in that final. Anybody could have won. So.
I really did like phase 1. Phase 1 was tip-top shape. I think we had the most criticism about phase 2. And for that, I think I'm going to give it a 3.8. I think it would have been higher if phase 2 would have been a lot more solid. But I think that I liked all the teams that were in the finals. I thought if anybody pulled out the win, I would be happy, regardless of who came in first, second, or third. I think story-wise, Nehemiah and Melinda winning would have been top-notch. But other than that, I think I still love John A winning. Darrell and Janelle, if they could have won, that would have been a great storyline as well. But I thought the first phase was so good. And then I just think that they were like, something happened to where I think everybody just needed to get on the plane to go to All-Stars 3. That's why we didn't even get like a reunion drop for All-Stars 2. They were just like, let's just get to All-Stars 3. Let's hurry up. We got to go. This took way too long. Everybody get on the plane.
They were doing a reunion. So no reunion?
I didn't see. I feel like they would have shown that there was going to be a reunion.
They would have showed a clip, yeah.
I would have thought so, but maybe because there's so many people coming from All-Stars 1 and All-Stars 2, they decided no, and they just want to get into All-Stars 3. I don't know. It was a quick turnaround for All-Stars 2 and All-Stars 3. So, but all right. So we graded every single thing. What are we grading All-Stars 2 in general? What are we grading it out of 5? 5 being the best season ever, 1 being the worst season ever. I mean, I feel like we're going to be in the 4s, possibly. Really, really high, especially with how the last few seasons have gone. I mean, what are we going to give the season overall, taking everything into account? What did we feel about the season as we were watching it and everything like that? Charles?
Well, I'm about to make a very bold statement. So do y'all want to go first?
No, let's be shocked by you first. Let's be shocked by you first.
Okay, so All Stars 2, um, the joy I got from watching the rivalry between the two sides, from the bomb ass music I got throughout the episodes, my love for the daily competitions and how even the pairs were, the eliminations I loved because anybody could have won. They gave me my ideal final type with the stations and the endurance and the push, and anybody could have won. The fact that the underdogs got 2 of their pairs out of 4 to the finals. Um, for me personally, and on top of that, I've gotten my favorite arc since Davon being on the challenge is now Ayana. Ayana's arc this season is top tier. She is now a franchise player, and now Melinda as well getting her story and all. Just to be honest, all of that. All Stars 2 is probably the best season overall that I have ever seen on the challenge. Now, that is a bold ass statement because I've been watching since Battle of the Sexes. I've been watching a long time, but I have never had a season that I have enjoyed overall as much as I enjoyed this season, down to the damn soundtrack, baby, the music. So, yeah.
That is a
But
bold,
what's the
bold
number?
statement.
Did you say the number?
Oh, number? I would give it overall a 4.5.
Okay. For it being the best of all times, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna give a long statement like Charles, but I will agree with him only because I have this 40-year-old brain and I can't remember all the seasons and if I liked it the best or not. This has been the best season overall that I've seen in a long time. The challenge has highly entertained me for many, I guess we could say decades, for many years. So it has been the best I've seen in a while. I was going to give it a 4.9 because I gave everything else like a 4 point something. So overall has to be high as well. The one thing I wanted to mention, excuse me, and I wanted to get you all's opinion real quick. The one thing I liked about season 1 that I want to see happen again because the strategy of it is just so exciting to me is when I vote you into elimination, I get to turn around and pick who I want to come help me win. I thought that was just such an exciting part of the game. I want to see that come back because now you got to think about who you going to vote in and make sure that person not going to pull you in. And if I vote somebody in, maybe I want to vote somebody in strong. So if I do get pulled in, we're going to win this. I don't know. I just liked that twist of the game. I would like to see that happen again somewhere. But overall, it gets a 4.9 because Thursday nights were it for me. Thursday night were it was the night. And they get kudos for saying, we know we got a hit show. We about to bring this back. We ain't about to have y'all waiting. Get your DVR ready for March. Or I guess it ain't DVR since it's online. But get your subscription up for March.
Yeah, I mean, both of you have it really, really high. I think I'm gonna give it, man, this was such a good season. I'm gonna be the lowest person here, and I'm gonna give it a 4.3. I ain't that low, but I just think that the finals and some wonky stuff in the middle that made me question it really kind of threw me off a little bit. But we have some memorable moments here that I think just showed how well just All Stars is compared to everything else we've gotten in the past couple of years to the main season of the challenge. And to me, I really hope they keep this level of intensity up, but I hope production takes a step back from what happened in All Stars 2, because I felt like they did come up a little bit too much. Like they added too many things, and it's like, look, All Stars 1 was great because they just let them do whatever they wanted to do, and the cast was perfect in that. They kind of just set up the rules, and then the cast did everything that they needed to do. Whereas this time, I think it was a lot more complicated, or they were trying to do too much to where it was like it kind of, if they had to walk in too much. So to me, 4.3, I think it was solid. What was that, Charles?
I'm not a fan of All Stars 1, so I guess that's where we differ. To me, All Stars 2, and I saw in the comments they were like, you give it a 4.5 and say it's the best ever. Yeah, I think a 4.5 translating to a 10-point scale is a 9 out of 10. From all the seasons I've seen, there's never been a 9 out of 10 for me from any other season, because there's been so many X's on the list of whether it's casting, production's hands, or eliminations, different things like that. For me, a 9 out of 10, this is going to be the go-to. If I introduce new people to the challenge, we're going to watch All Stars 2 together, because they're going to be entertained every single episode, not like other seasons where you might have to explain, oh, well, it's going to be a cliffhanger during the elimination. You got to wait till the next episode. No, we didn't get any of that BS this time around. So,
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm doing a rewatch right now I'm going to do like a huge video of just ranking all the challenge seasons, like from best to worst and stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I'm up to challenge 23, but I've done some mixed up here because I did like DM's video, and so I had to watch some out of order, but I'm at 23, and there are some great seasons, and then there are some rough seasons, aka why I'm still on 23 for like 2 to 3 weeks. I can't get past these 12 episodes because it's just so bad. It's so bad. I hate the season. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be high. Battle of the Seasons 2012 is not going to be high. Thank you. I think that's it. Does anybody else have anything to say about All Stars 2?
No, but I have a question for you, Drew.
What do you have? What's the question?
I've been told I need to watch Battle of the Sexes 2, and some people sent me the seasons on a Google Drive, and I don't know how to use Google Drive. Is there anywhere else I can find Battle of the Sexes 2 to watch?
I don't think so. I really can't find it anywhere. On Canada TV, they have 19 through like 32, and then they skip a whole bunch and then go to 37. And so that's all that they have, and that's the same thing with Paramount Plus. They have 19, or they have 11 through 34, 35, 34. Nobody has 35. 35 is now the new season 14. Nobody has that. It's gone. It's scrubbed from everywhere. You can't find it anywhere. But Google Drive, it should be easy. You log in with your Google account, but you can click on it, and then it should have all the seasons on there.
Okay, well, I'll figure that out over the weekend then. I was just wondering before I did some IT work.
Yeah, no, I think you're good.
Just double click on
it. Maybe you have a VPN. But no, it'll be good. But yeah, I don't think there's no place to watch 1 through 10 anywhere. Like, not legally or illegally. Well, illegally, but not legally. It's really difficult. So I think the Google Drive, whoever sent you that Google Drive, that's the best option. 35 is missing because of somebody's comments. That's what it is. That's why. Like, nobody has it. It's been scrubbed from CTV that had it for a long time, and Challenge, once it got off of MTV.com, is gone. So it's just gone. But it's because of D and everything that happened with that situation. So that's gone. Season 14 is gone as well. I couldn't tell you why that I watched it. I couldn't tell you what happened with that one. Probably because of CT, how he got DQ'd from that season.
I'm thinking
but that was only episode
CT 1 fight. Yeah.
Well, he just punched Davis that season. the big fight happened in 17, and that
That was
episode
the
is
big
gone.
one.
That episode is taken off
Oh.
of Paramount because save face, even though it's everywhere else on different seasons. But anyways, thank you both for joining me talking about All Stars 2. This was a lot of fun. I mean, to me, this was what I was looking forward to the whole week because we hadn't talked at all about All Stars 2. This was actually a fun season. We talked so much about boring seasons or bad seasons. So to me, this was so much fun to actually get to hear everything for the first time about what's going on and what you guys thought about it. Thank you for joining me. Where can everybody find you and want to see more? If they want to see more of you, where could they find you and watch you guys or get to know you better? Angie?
If you want to get to know me better, follow me on Instagram at Kiss My Cheeks TV. That's where I post a lot of funny little memes and all my glam shots, even though I have on glam today. If you want to hear me be shady, follow me on Twitter because that's where I watch the reality shows and the competition shows, and I tweet my shady stuff. I don't at people, but I just tweet my shady stuff. And if you would like to hear my 2 cents and my opinions, follow me on YouTube at Kiss My Cheeks TV. Everything is at Kiss My Cheeks TV. I do competition reality shows as well as the messy, dramatic reality shows. Something for everyone. Please subscribe. And thank you again, Drew, for having me on your channel. I gave you a shout out in the live last night, and everyone loved you for allowing me to be on your platform. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much for joining me. I always have a great time with both you and Charles here. Charles, where can everybody find you or find your products? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I am Charles Warren. You can find me on Instagram at the Charles Warren. You can find me on YouTube. I'm back on YouTube, Charles Warren Online. Tomorrow, if you are free at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central p.m., myself and Angie will be live on my channel talking about RuPaul's Drag Race episode 2 tomorrow at 2 p.m. So jump on over there if you can. Y'all need to support Drew. That's my biggest thing. I appreciate you bringing me on here, but I want you guys to support his merch. Hopefully he will have the link somewhere down below. Go get you a nice crew neck or a hoodie. Support your boy Drew, as well as if you can go to my website, charleswarrenpresents.com. I have sore muscle products. So if you have sore feet, sore neck, sore back, get you one of them sweet ginger rubs. Use Drew's code, Angel Cake, and you'll get 15% off. So yes, you guys, thank y'all. Y'all are always so nice and supportive of myself and Angie when we come over. I just want y'all to support Drew and everything he has going on because he works very hard on his content, you guys. So yeah, that's about it.
I mean, I don't have to say anything else about myself because Charles just did it for me. So thank you, Charles.
One more question,
again.
Drew.
Okay.
The other day you had on a blue sweatshirt that looked like it had some kind of ice hole and it was cracking around the hole. Was that your merch? And if not, where did you get that shirt? Because I really liked it.
It is not my merch, sadly. It is it's a Black Mirror hoodie from Target, and I got it in the clearance section. So I don't know where
It's gone.
they sell it, but for something that I found in the clearance section, everybody loves it. So I don't know why it was in the clearance section if everybody loves it. So
as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want that sweatshirt. But I'll check out Target.
Yeah, definitely check out Target. I'm so happy to hear everybody had a lot of fun with us talking about the challenge All-Stars 2. I can't wait for our All-Stars 3 because that's going to be, I want to have another conversation, but we are now in the complete off season of the challenge. I'm going to have challenge videos every single week, at least one every single week from here on out, as well as doing some review and recast for different TV shows like Teen Mom, Amazing Race, and also we have some other reality TV shows I'm going to be doing commentary one-off videos for. So I'm going to be coming out with a lot of content, and I hope everybody will enjoy the fun content that I have, and giving everything a try. I'm also looking to do Patreon and doing some exclusive content, and maybe try to figure out a way, side channels, to do some full season rewatches. So I can't do it on YouTube because of copyrights, but maybe I can find some way to do it on a different down low kind of way. But I'll be making a big announcement once I figure out all the tiers and everything. And I just want to thank both of you for joining me again, and everybody in the live chat that joined us as well. We had a great time, and thank you for coming in, spending your Saturday nights with us, and just having a good time and discussing a great challenge season, another challenge season in the books. And hopefully they're not lying that All-Stars 3 is coming very, very soon. But that is it from us. Thank you again, and good night, everybody.
Bye.